Okay, so you want to start a SaaS company, software as a service, monthly recurring revenue, customers paying automatically, scalable to millions of users without hiring thousands of employees. Build it once, sell it forever. Wake up to MRR notifications on your phone. Maybe raise venture capital, grow fast, exit for 8 figures. Sounds like the perfect digital business. And honestly, from the outside, it really does look that way. But here is what people who actually built profitable SaaS companies know, and what most people watching startup success stories on YouTube never tell you. A SaaS business is not an app you code once and collect subscriptions forever. It is a customer acquisition machine wrapped around a software development operation that never stops, where your product is never finished and begins decaying the moment you stop improving it, where 80% of SaaS companies never reach $1 million in annual recurring revenue, where acquiring a customer costs $500 to $5,000 but they churn after 8 months paying you $720 total, where you are competing against venture-backed competitors burning $2 million per month to undercut your pricing, and where the passive income fantasy collapses when you realize you are spending 60 hours per week fixing bugs, answering support tickets, building features customers demand, and watching your monthly churn rate wondering if you will still have a business in 18 months. The model can generate life-changing wealth. The execution failure rate is brutal, in ways that most people never see coming. Let's start at the beginning. When people say SaaS, they are usually picturing one thing: a web-based software application that customers access through a browser or mobile app, paying a monthly or annual subscription fee. Project management tools like Asana, CRM systems like HubSpot, accounting software like QuickBooks Online, email marketing platforms like MailChimp. The software runs on servers you control, customers log in from anywhere, and they pay continuously for ongoing access. That is the modern SaaS model, and it has fundamentally different economics from traditional software where customers bought a license once for $500 and owned it forever. The entire SaaS business model is built on 3 core metrics: monthly recurring revenue, MRR, the predictable revenue you collect each month from active subscriptions; customer acquisition cost, CAC, how much you spend in sales and marketing to acquire one paying customer; and lifetime value, LTV, the total revenue you collect from a customer before they cancel. If your LTV is higher than your CAC, ideally 3x to 5x higher, you have a viable business. If your CAC exceeds your LTV, you are buying customers at a loss. You are a charity with a credit card. Here is something that surprises people when they first look at this industry. There are approximately 30,000 plus SaaS companies operating globally as of 2024. The market generates over $200 billion in annual revenue. But the distribution is wildly uneven. The top 50 SaaS companies, Salesforce, Microsoft 365, Adobe Creative Cloud, ServiceNow, Workday, capture roughly 40% to 50% of total market revenue. The next 500 companies capture another 30%. The remaining 29, 500-plus companies fight for 20% to 30% of the market, generating an average of $120,000 to $850,000 in annual revenue each. And the failure rate is staggering. Studies estimate that 90% to 95% of SaaS startups fail within the first 5 years. Of those that survive, only 8% to 12% ever reach $1 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue. Only 1% to 2% reach $10 million ARR. The odds of reaching $100 million ARR are roughly 0.1%. You are not entering an easy market. You are entering a winner-take-most market where network effects, brand recognition, and capital reserves determine outcomes as much as product quality. Before you write a single line of code, you need to decide what kind of SaaS you are building. A horizontal SaaS serving a broad market across industries, CRM, email, project management. Or a vertical SaaS serving one specific industry or niche, software for dental practices, law firms, HVAC contractors, or restaurants. Horizontal SaaS has massive TAM, total addressable market, but intense competition from entrenched giants with $100 million plus marketing budgets. Vertical SaaS has smaller TAM but less competition, higher pricing power, and better retention because switching costs are higher. Most successful bootstrap SaaS companies are vertical. Most venture-funded SaaS companies pursue horizontal markets because VCs need billion-dollar outcomes to justify their investments. You also need to decide whether you are bootstrapping or raising venture capital. Bootstrapping means building with your own capital or revenue, growing organically, maintaining full ownership. Raising VC means taking $500,000, $2 million, $10 million plus in funding, giving up 20% to 60% plus equity, and committing to hypergrowth with a targeted exit in 5 to 7 years. The economics are completely different. Let's focus on the bootstrapped path first because it is more common and more realistic for most founders. You have an idea, a project management tool for interior designers. There are general PM tools like Asana and Monday.com, but nothing purpose-built for this industry. You validated demand by talking to 30 interior designers. 15 said they would pay $50 to $80 per month for software that integrates client communication, vendor management, mood boards, and invoicing. Now you need to build it. If you are a developer, you can build the MVP minimum viable product yourself. If you are not, you need to hire developers. Let's model both. Development cost, founder built. You spend 6 to 12 months building the MVP, working nights and weekends while keeping your day job. Your opportunity cost, the salary you are not earning by working part-time or quitting, is $40,000 to $80,000 depending on your income level. That is your real cost even though no cash leaves your bank account. Development cost, outsourced. You hire a development agency or freelance developers. A functional SaaS MVP, user authentication, database, core features, payment integration, admin dashboard, costs $30,000 to $120,000 depending on complexity, and whether you hire offshore, $25 to $75 per hour, nearshore, $50 to $100 per hour, or domestic, $100 to $200 per hour. Let's say you are technical. You build it yourself over 9 months while working full-time. Opportunity cost, $60,000. Infrastructure and tools. You need hosting, AWS, Google Cloud, or Heroku, $50 to $300 per month initially depending on usage. Database hosting, $20 to $150 per month. Email sending service for transactional emails, SendGrid or Postmark, $10 to $100 per month. Payment processing, Stripe or PayPal, 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. No upfront cost but 3% of revenue ongoing. Error tracking and monitoring, Sentry or Rollbar, $0 to $50 per month. Analytics, Mixpanel or Amplitude, $0 to $200 per month. Customer support software, Intercom or Help Scout, $50 to $200 per month. Domain name and SSL certificate, $15 to $50 per year. Total infrastructure and tools, $150 to $1,000 per month depending on scale and choices. Design and branding. If you are not a designer, you need a logo, brand identity, and UI/UX design. Freelance designer for branding, $1,500 to $5,000. UI/UX design for the application, $3,000 to $15,000. Or you use templates and DIY tools, reducing cost to $200 to $800 but sacrificing polish. Legal and compliance. Terms of service, privacy policy, subscription agreements. DIY using templates, $0 to $300. Attorney drafted, $2,000 to $8,000. Business entity formation, LLC or C Corp, $500 to $2,500 including state fees and registered agent. If you handle payment card data, you need PCI compliance. If you serve EU customers, GDPR compliance. If you serve healthcare, HIPAA. Compliance costs range from $0 if you architect carefully to avoid requirements, to $15,000 to $50,000 plus annually for audits and certifications. Pre-launch marketing. Website, landing page, email capture, $500 to $3,000. Early marketing, content, ads, outreach, $2,000 to $10,000. Total startup cost, founder-built MVP, bootstrapped, $5,000 to $25,000 in actual cash outlay plus $60,000 opportunity cost. Total economic cost, $65,000 to $85,000. You launch in month 10. You have 8 beta users from your validation interviews. You charge $60 per month. Month 1 revenue, $480. MRR, $480. Now comes the hardest part. Customer acquisition. You need to get customers. You have no brand, no sales team, no marketing budget. You have 3 options. Organic content marketing. You write blog posts, create YouTube videos, post on social media, optimize for SEO. This is free but slow. It takes 6 to 18 months to generate meaningful traffic. And conversion rates from content to trial to paid customer are 1% to 4%. Paid advertising. Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. You can drive traffic immediately but at a cost. In most B2B SaaS markets, cost per click ranges from $3 to $25. Conversion rate from click to trial sign-up, 2% to 8%. Conversion from trial to paid, 10% to 25%. Let's do the math. You spend $1,000 on Google ads. At $8 CPC, you get 125 clicks. At 4% trial conversion, 5 trial signups. At 18% paid conversion, 0.9 paying customers. You spent $1,000 to acquire 1 customer paying $60 per month. Your CAC is $1,000. Your customer's first month payment is $60. You are underwater by $940. You need that customer to stay subscribed for 17 months just to break even. If your average customer lifespan is 11 months, you lose $340 per customer. Paid ads do not work at this margin. Direct outreach and sales. You cold email, LinkedIn message, attend industry events, and do manual outreach. This is free but labor-intensive. You spend 20 hours per week on outreach. After 4 weeks, you close 3 customers. You spent 80 hours to acquire 3 customers, 26.7 hours per customer. If your time is worth $50 per hour, your CAC is $1,335 per customer. Same problem. This is the valley of death that kills most SaaS companies. You can acquire customers, but the economics do not work at small scale. You need volume to reduce CAC through brand recognition and word of mouth, but you cannot afford to acquire enough customers to reach that volume. Let's model a realistic first 24 months for a bootstrapped vertical SaaS. Month 1 to 3. You have 8 to 15 paying customers, $480 to $900 MRR. You acquire customers through manual outreach, content, and founder hustle. CAC is effectively free in cash terms but costs 15 to 25 hours per week of your time. Month 4 to 12. You grow to 45 to 75 customers, $2,700 to $4,500 MRR. Growth is slow. You are adding 4 to 8 new customers per month but losing 1 to 3 to churn. Net growth, 3 to 5 customers per month. Monthly churn rate, the percentage of customers who cancel each month, runs 4% to 8% for early-stage B2B SaaS. At 6% monthly churn and 60 customers, you lose 3.6 customers per month. You need to add 4+ new customers just to stay flat. Month 13 to 24. You reach 90 to 140 customers, $5,400 to $8,400 MRR. Growth is still slow but compounding. You have improved the product based on feedback. Churn has dropped to 4% to 5%. Word of mouth is starting to contribute 20% to 30% of new customers. By month 24, your MRR is $6,000 to $8,400. Annual run rate, $72,000 to $100,800. Now let's talk about costs at this scale. Infrastructure and software tools, now serving 120 customers, $400 to $1,200 per month. Customer support. At 120 customers, you are fielding 15 to 40 support tickets per week. You are spending 10 to 20 hours per week on support. If you hire a part-time support person at $20 per hour, 20 hours per week, that is $1,600 per month. Development and product. You cannot stop developing. Customers request features. Bugs appear. Competitors release new features. You need to ship updates every 2 to 4 weeks or customers churn. If you are the founder developer, you are spending 25 to 40 hours per week on product development. If you hire a developer, $80,000 to $120,000 annually, $6,700 to $10,000 per month. Marketing. To maintain growth, you need to invest in content, ads, tools, conferences. $1,000 to $4,000 per month. Payment processing fees at 3% of revenue, $180 to $250 per month. Legal and accounting, $200 to $600 per month. Total monthly operating expenses, founder doing all development and most support, $2,200 to $6,500. At $7,000 MRR, your operating expenses are $4,000 per month. Net profit before founder salary, $3,000 per month, $36,000 annually. You have been working on this for 24 months. You invested $65,000 to $85,000 in opportunity cost and cash. You are generating $36,000 annually in profit but still working 50 to 70 hours per week. You are earning $10 to $14 per hour for highly skilled technical and business work. This is the reality of early-stage bootstrap SaaS. It takes 2 to 4 years to reach $500,000 to $1 million ARR where the economics become truly compelling. Now let's talk about what kills SaaS companies faster than anything else. Churn. This is the silent killer. You have 200 customers at $50 per month, $10,000 MRR. Your monthly churn rate is 7%. You lose 14 customers per month, $700 MRR. You are adding 18 new customers per month through marketing and sales. Net growth, for customers, $200 MRR per month. But here is the problem. To add those 18 customers, you spent $12,000 in ads and sales effort, $667 CAC. You spent $12,000 to grow MRR by $900. You are burning $11,100 per month in customer acquisition. After 6 months, you run out of capital. You cannot afford to keep acquiring customers at a loss. Growth stops. Churn continues. MRR declines. You enter a death spiral. Churn is caused by poor product-market fit, weak onboarding, lack of ongoing value, better competitive alternatives, or economic downturns affecting customers. Reducing churn from 7% to 4% changes everything. At 4% churn, you lose 8 customers per month instead of 14. Same acquisition effort now yields net growth of 10 customers per month instead of 4. Your growth rate more than doubles. Feature bloat and technical debt. Customers request features constantly. Can you add Slack integration? We need custom reporting. Can we have multi-user permissions? You say yes to everything to reduce churn and win new customers. Your roadmap becomes a laundry list of requests. You are building features 15% of customers will use while neglecting core functionality that 85% depend on. Your code base becomes a tangled mess. Technical debt accumulates. Development slows. New features take 3x longer to build because you are working around bad architectural decisions made 18 months ago when you were rushing to launch. Eventually, you need to refactor or rebuild core systems. You spend 4 to 6 months on technical debt reduction that customers do not see. During that time, visible feature development stalls. Customers complain. Churn increases. Competitor closes the gap. Competition from venture-backed players. You are charging $60 per month and bootstrapped. A VC-backed competitor raises $8 million Series A. They hire 15 engineers, a sales team, and a marketing team. They charge $39 per month, subsidized by investor capital, and outspend you 50 to 1 on marketing. They flood Google Ads, sponsor every industry conference, publish constant content, and offer free migrations from your platform. Over 12 months, you lose 35% of your customers to them. You cannot compete on price or marketing spend. You can only compete on product depth, customer service, and niche focus. But if customers prioritize price, you lose. Founder burnout. You have been working 60 to 75 hours per week for 3 years. You are developer, product manager, customer support, salesperson, marketer, and CEO. You have not taken a vacation in 26 months. You are exhausted. You start cutting corners. You stop answering support tickets promptly. You delay bug fixes. You skip marketing. Your product quality declines. Customer satisfaction drops. Churn increases. You want to quit, but you have 180 customers depending on you and $9,000 MRR. That is not quite enough to replace your previous salary. You are trapped in a business that owns you instead of serving you. Pricing mistakes. You launched at $60 per month. After 18 months, you realize your costs to serve, support, infrastructure, development are $22 per customer per month. Your margin is $38. But your CAC is $850 and customers stay an average of 14 months. LTV is $532. You are losing $318 per customer. You need to raise prices to $95 per month to make the economics work. But you have 160 existing customers at $60. If you raise prices, 30% to 50% will churn. You will lose 48 to 80 customers overnight. You are stuck between unprofitable unit economics and mass churn if you fix pricing. Platform dependency. You built your SaaS as a Shopify app. 70% of your customers come through the Shopify App Store. Shopify takes 20% of subscription revenue and controls discovery, reviews, and distribution. Shopify changes its policies. Apps must now support new checkout extensions or be delisted. Implementing this requires 600 hours of development. You scramble to comply. Or Shopify builds native functionality that replicates 80% of what your app does. Your value proposition collapses. Customers churn to the free built-in solution. Your business evaporates. You built on a platform you do not control. The platform changed the rules. You lose. Let's talk about the SaaS founders who build sustainable, profitable businesses. They niche down ruthlessly. Not project management for everyone. Instead, project management for commercial interior designers specializing in hospitality projects. The market is 2,000 potential customers instead of 2 million, but you own it. You charge $180 per month instead of $50 because you are purpose-built. CAC is lower because word of mouth is strong in tight communities. They obsess over churn. They track cohort retention religiously. They analyze why customers cancel. They build onboarding sequences that drive activation, getting users to core value within the first session. They implement customer success check-ins at days 3, 14, and 30. They reduce churn from 6% to 2.5%, doubling customer lifetime value. They resist feature bloat. They say no to 80% of feature requests. They build deep, polished core functionality instead of shallow coverage of 50 use cases. Their product is simpler, easier to use, and more reliable than competitors. They charge appropriately. They understand their unit economics and price to sustain the business. They charge $120 to $300 per month for vertical B2B SaaS instead of $29. They position as premium, not commodity. They build in public and leverage content. They share their journey, metrics, learnings on Twitter, blogs, and podcasts. They build an audience of potential customers before the product is finished. They launch to 400 email subscribers instead of 0. They monetize quickly. They do not build for 18 months in stealth. They charge from day one, even for an incomplete MVP. Revenue validates demand and funds development. Customers paying $50 per month for a partial solution prove you are onto something. They bootstrap to $1 million ARR, then decide whether to raise capital, sell, or continue bootstrapping. At $1 million ARR, they have leverage. VCs approach them instead of vice versa. They raise on favorable terms or stay independent with life-changing income. Let's run the numbers 2 ways. Best case scenario, vertical SaaS bootstrapped. You build an MVP over 8 months while working full-time. You launch with 12 beta customers from validation. You charge $120 per month. Month 12, 35 customers, $4,200 MRR. Month 24, 105 customers, $12,600 MRR, $151,200 ARR. Month 36, 220 customers, $26,400 MRR, $316,800 ARR. You kept churn below 3.5% through excellent onboarding and customer success. You maintained high pricing. You stayed focused on one vertical. Operating expenses at month 36, $9,500 per month. Infrastructure, tools, part-time support, contract development, marketing. Net profit, $16,900 per month, $202,800 annually. You are working 45 to 55 hours per week but earning $202,800. You have built a valuable asset worth 4x to 6x ARR, $1.27 million to $1.9 million. You can sell for $1.5 million and walk away, or continue growing to $750,000 to $1 million ARR and live off the cash flow. Realistic scenario, horizontal SaaS, Bootstrapped. You build a general project management tool competing against Asana, Monday.com, ClickUp. You launch at $29 per month trying to undercut competitors. Month 12, 85 customers, $2,465 MRR. Month 24, 180 customers, $5,220 MRR, but churn is 7% because you have weak differentiation. You spend heavily on ads to grow, but CAC is $680 and LTV is $365. You are losing $315 per customer. By month 30, you have burned through $75,000 in savings funding growth that isn't profitable. You are at 210 customers, $6,090 MRR, but you are exhausted and capital constrained. You try to raise seed funding. VCs pass because you are in a crowded market, growing slowly with poor unit economics. You cannot afford to keep operating at a loss. You shut down. You lost $75,000 in 30 months. Your code has no value because it is not differentiated. You walk away with nothing but lessons. The difference between those outcomes is niche selection, pricing discipline, churn management, and capital efficiency. The global SaaS market generates over $200 billion annually. There are founders who built $5 million, $20 million, $100 million plus ARR companies bootstrapped or with minimal capital. MailChimp sold for $12 billion, bootstrapped the entire way. Atlassian went public at $4.37 billion valuation, raised only $210 million total. But 92% of SaaS companies never reach $1 million ARR. The median SaaS company generates $180,000 to $450,000 in ARR after 5+ years of operation. The people who succeed understand SaaS is a game of retention, unit economics, and focus. They know churn is more important than growth. They know LTV to CAC ratio determines survival. They build narrow and deep, not wide and shallow. They monetize early and often. They bootstrap to profitability before scaling. The people who fail believe the build it and they will come myth. They spend 2 years building in stealth with no customer input. They underprice trying to win on cost. They chase every feature request. They ignore churn. They compete in crowded horizontal markets against funded giants. They run out of money before reaching product market fit. The software runs automatically once deployed to the cloud. The payment processing happens while you sleep. But the SaaS does not run itself.